Okay, this is a quick review of stem changing verbs. As you remember, we have three basic verb types. We have AR verbs, ER verbs, and IR verbs. AR verbs, take off the AR and you add O. As, a, amos, an. ER verbs would be O, S, A, amos, N. IR verbs would be O, S, A, emos, N. They're nice and simple. Just take off the AR and then add your endings. For example, I talk would be yo hablo. However, stem changing verbs are a little bit more complicated. You take your stem and there's a vowel in that that's going to change. We have E to I, E to IE, and O to UE. So, if we have the verb hablar, just take off the AR, and if you want to say you talk, oh, I'm sorry, it's AR. So you want to say you talk, you take off the AR, and then you use AS. So you talk would be hablas. However, with stem changing verbs, such as the verb dormir, to sleep, you take off the IR, and then you ask who's doing the action. So let's say that I am doing the action. We're going to use O, but we're not quite done. We also have to take the O and change that. O becomes UE, so the verb I sleep, or to sleep, would conjugate I sleep as yo duermo. So not yo dormo, but yo duermo. Preferir, it's also an IR verb. Let's say that we want to say they sleep. So we're going to take off the ER, we're going to say N, but it's not preferen. We take the E that's closest to the end, it's E to IE, so we're going to change that E to an IE, and it's going to be prefieren. However, you do not ever stem change nosotros, right? At least not in the present tense. And so preferir for nosotros, take off the IR, and it's going to be emos. Okay. Normally, we would stem change this one. However, since it's nosotros, we don't, and be preferimos, not prefierimos. It kind of makes sense because it just flows a little bit better. Yo duermo is easier to say than yo dormo, and that's why it stem changes. So let's do a little bit of practice. The first sentence that I want you to translate is, let's say, I remember. Pause the video, translate that. Okay, the verb is recordar. I'm doing it for I, so we're going to take off the AR, add an O. It is a stem changing verb. Take off the O and add a UE, so it's yo recuerdo. Okay, the next one would be they want. Translate that, then I'll give you the answer. So the verb is querer. We're going to take off the ER, add an EN for they. It's a stem changing. It's E to IE. So we're going to replace the E with an IE. And then it's quieren. Quieren. UI makes an E sound, and then pronounce the E separately. Alright, we're going to say we plan, or we think. Alright, the verb to plan is pensar. So we're going to take off the AR, add amos for we. The E, normally we would stem change this to IE, however we don't since it's nosotros. So it's nosotros pensamos. Okay, upload these sentences to Moodle, and you need to don't forget that you need to memorize which verbs are stem changing. So they kind of make sense as you get used to them, but until you get used to them, you need to memorize them.